right. Well, let me welcome everybody back to Nifty Dimensions. It's a beautiful morning here on the East Coast, and it looks like it's a beautiful morning over there on the West Coast too. But before I get going, I just want to say a special thank you to all the viewers that have been watching. I do a lot of shout outs to the artists, and I pay a lot of homage to the artists, and that's what it's all about here. But it's also the other half is so important, which is everybody watching at home and supporting the channel. So I don't ask a lot, but please hit like, hit subscribe and the bell, leave a comment even so the algorithm feels you on this and starts to send the show out a little bit. It's all about the reciprocation of the love. And I'm all about that. And I know somebody else that's all about that. And I got him on the show today, and somebody that I've seen on Twitter and the internet putting out such amazing art, from paintings to NFTs, and doing really cool blog posts and putting the love out there. So please welcome Wessel, the amazing Wessel. What's up, man?
What's up, Rizzo? How are you doing this morning?
Good. Really good to see you, man. It's
good to see you too. Yeah, the weather out here in California, like Los Angeles right now, is beautiful, and it's going to get hot as hell today. That's for sure. I should do the whole thank you very much for having me on your show. Like, you came at me with like a DM, like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, yeah, definitely. So I really appreciate that.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate your art. And like I said, I do appreciate what you're doing for the community as well. I think a lot of people do, not just the fans of art, but the other artists. And I like that. I think the Nifty Dimensions community, there's a lot of artists involved, a lot of people, not just collectors. I find it kind of split in the middle, and it's kind of perfect. So, but yeah, I'll get to some questions. I definitely have a few lined up for you if you don't mind.
Yeah, hit me with them. I always love answering questions. So
beautiful. Well, I was on iamwessel.com, right?
Yes, yeah, that is my main website.
Right. Yeah, I was looking around. I saw paintings, and I was also the Linktree got me started there. But I ran into paintings, and I've been seeing so much. I'm curious what your influences were that got you into art.
Because there's like, when you talk about my Linktree and stuff like that, there's a whole broad field of different things that I've done. So it's very hard to say like a particular name that influenced me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is one of the interesting things that I'm finding more and more out about as I get older, is that there's like this huge like artistic thing within my family, like painting and art, like drawing and writing and all this other things.
Yeah.
And so like as a kid, I watched my sister do like drawings of like wolves and horses and Calvin and Hobbes and all this other stuff. So it kind of planted a seed inside of my head. And then yeah, it's just crazy to think about, because my story about how I got into art is literally stretches out over my life. And it's just like, I can't really say like one person really influenced and brought me into it, because it was just this whole form factor of things pushing me into it. Not pushing me into it, but it's like, I don't know, it was just like something that I had to do. So there's like different influences along the way that I've had, different people. Like when I was a photographer, like all the classics like Avedon and Mapplethorpe. That's one of my influences, like way back when I was first getting into the art world with photography and stuff like that. And yeah, I always like the kind of out there people. So
yeah, I feel you on that for sure. Yeah, I definitely like the more out there, the better, in my opinion. Well, that's cool. I like to ask, just little simple things about influence, because I see, I mean, you're doing a million things. It was hard to keep up with everything. I even saw you have Mike's shop of stuff on Rareable. I saw you have a bunch, you got a hen page. It's awesome. You're everywhere. I can never pronounce the name right, so I just call it hen. Sorry.
No, Hicketnunk hen doesn't matter. Yeah, like, man, when you look back at the Rareable pages, and it's been a crazy, because I jumped into NFTs back in March, and so it's just like trying to track everything. Like most of my life is on hen, because like I was on like the ETH chains for a while, like doing Rareable and OpenSea, and I got on Foundation, all this other stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Then I jumped into hen, and there was like a whole different environment there. Like that became my life for so long. But I'm starting to stretch out again into the other chains and stuff like that, because it's like, yeah, you got to be big, be everywhere as much as you can all the time as an artist in this world. So
for sure. Yeah, I agree. Same. It's crazy. March, just, I'm sure I mean, you were there, but March was the month that so many NFT artists just started going crazy with it. Myself included. That's the first time I bought crypto and learned how to mint lazy mint on OpenSea, and wanted to get into Foundation. And also March really seems like that was a popping off point for sure.
Yeah, because Clubhouse had just kind of like gotten into the thing, because I remember like when I first got on, like Clubhouse was the place to try and meet people and get your stuff moving with like Hen and ETH and all this other jazz. And then like, yeah, March is where suddenly all of, at least for me, because that's where I jumped in. I think about all the people that jumped in with me at the same time. They're in my different groups, or the different artists. And I'm like, I know all these people and these people and these people.
Yeah,
And we all started at the same time.
that's
Oh,
awesome.
back in the $80 to mint a piece on Rarible. Oh
Mm.
man.
Right? Yeah, that's a whole nother subject right there. When I was new, I had no idea if $150 gas fee was high or low. I didn't know left from right in that whole thing. I totally had to jump in and just hope for the best, you know, and it's been fun though. I mean, the crypto world, especially the NFT world, is it's new and exciting for everybody who gets into it. I have so many friends now, family members, and shout out to all of them that are watching, that have gotten into it, even gotten into NFTs, and going from, just like I was not too long ago, somebody had no clue about any of it, to being into it and inspired by it, and even starting to get into some of their own stuff with it. So I like how this whole thing is forming. It's
Yeah, the
fascinating.
NFT world, it's like I've tried to onboard as many people as I can, friends and family. And I was just back in Wisconsin visiting, and I took them through my gallery, because I don't know if you know that I'm a part of the XOV box. We're a gallery in the crypto box.
Nice.
And
Okay.
so yeah, we had a 3-day festival in mid-July called Wesselfest. This is our second one.
Okay,
And
cool.
yeah, that's a whole topic in itself, and the festivals and like my association with Fox and everything. But like I was taking them through the gallery that we had set up, and it's through one of the days where they could see all the different art of people I'd collected and stuff like that. And it's just like,
Nice.
man, there's like showing them the utility of it, like what they can do there, like how that can be a part of their lives. And it's not just about art and all this other stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like the world we jumped into when you talk about like getting in, not knowing how much things cost. And it's all about like this low hurdle that you have to jump to get into NFTs, I think. And it's like,
Yeah.
you got to be willing to spend money and lose money
Yep.
and when you make mistakes. So we all fucked up mints, it's like, oh no, I'd have a typo in there. Now I have to burn it and remint it, all
Yeah, I
these
did
other
that.
things.
Yep.
Or
Totally.
the scams that run through here, like early back in March, April, with like Party Brothers and stuff like that. It's just like
Yeah.
there's all these different lessons that you have to learn. And it's just like, did you buy the wrong crypto? Did you buy an altcoin that like bottomed out and you lost a couple $100? It's just like
Yep.
there's so much flying through here. You got to be like, yeah, you got to be ready for it, for shizzle.
Totally. And my answer for most of those questions was yes, by the way. I did all those mistakes. I even bought into some low cap stuff that I had no idea. I bought way high. Now, I didn't know. I thought it was just going to keep going. I won't retell the story on the show, but I've told this one before. But yeah, I definitely had to learn the hard way. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, now I'm the one that's helping friends and family and people that have no clue. And luckily, I'm kind of like a middle introduction. Like, I won't pretend to know everything. There are people out there that are way more intelligent in that whole world than me, but I think I could help people at least get set up in Coinbase or a MetaMask, or, whatever
Yeah.
they're needing to get into. So
Onboard them so that they can get started, because it's like that technical hurdle. I've met so many, like the artist end of it is like, oh, I don't know if my art's good enough stuff, bullshit that people tell themselves. But it's just
right.
like, that hurdle isn't that high, especially if you have a friend saying, come over, like the Red
Yeah.
Rover game where you throw the ball, come on over, we'll help you, come here,
Hell yeah.
brave new world, join us.
Right.
So, and then you see the
Exactly.
looks on their faces and they're like, I don't know if I should or shouldn't. And
Yeah.
it's funny when you say like getting into it, whether or not they should, because my first piece on Rarible, if you read the description on that one,
Mhm.
describes the mental process of that first mint that I did. So
All right. Yeah, I going back a second too, because I saw the stuff about Wesselfest, and all I knew is I missed it, and I'm like, oh man, what did I miss? And I'll be honest, like it's as I was going over everything before the interview today, I saw that, and I just, so can you give me a little rundown of that? I know you said there's a lot to it, but I'm curious enough. I gotta ask, man.
definitely, thank you. So I'm partnered in a gallery in crypto voxel called Vox. It's spelled XOB, but pronounced Vox.
Okay.
And so we're working to be an engagement and entertainment space to like have fun, basically, for artists and people and events and all this other jazz. And so the first festival we did was Mango Fest, which was back in June, I believe, for a friend of mine, Vincent Mango. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's an amazing artist. I'll send you a link and tag to him later, but he's
Please
also a
do.
good friend.
Awesome.
And so
Okay.
he was the first festival we did. And so the next one we decided to do was Wesselfest. Like we're always testing the boundaries, limits, and all this other stuff. And so Wesselfest was kind of a test case, like me being the artist and also a partner in the business is kind of gave us some freedom to have a lot of fun and try different things. And so we did 3 days of fest. And the first day was like a community day where I showed, I think like 80 different artists that I own, like had their work up in this cool, like we literally took the roof of our space and our parcel and built a gallery over top of it. And basically it was just like, now it was just paintings and stuff like that. And then the next day we ended up doing like each day was a different kind of build for like how to entertain, engage, and like test the limits and boundaries and how much fun we could have with it. And like on the second day, like in addition to like my art, which I think that was the Shy Gods Day where we had like 60 Shy Gods staring at people with a dance floor. And then if you jumped over the edge of our building into the water, we had the Duck Duck Gallery where my friend Loopy Moon was showing off their work. And it was like literally a giant duck that you had to jump into the water and swim up to get into. Like you could fly through it. But it was just like, and then the third day we had like a whole huge section of like self-portraits. Like we had a lava floor, like a lava dance floor. And then if you flew all the way up, we had an entire gallery facing downward of like my simple animation stuff. Wow. And so it was just basically a 3 days of us having fun, testing the limits and getting people together to have a blast. So
that sounds insane. That's awesome. Oh man. Well, if you do that next year, please let me know. I want to go.
We're having there's actually, well, yeah, we're planning to do like repeats and stuff like that. Our minds are just so full of the options that we can do because we're so far like at the edge of everything. Like how much fun can we have? How can we pull people in? Like what kind of cool stuff can we do with art in a world that can be turned into art? Right. So, and we got another event coming up at the end of August. The details and all that will be coming up soon. So
awesome. That's really cool. Oh, I'm glad I asked then. That's really, really awesome. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like I jumped into the space as like a pure artist, and then just being in this space pulls you in so many different interesting directions that lets you and allows you to grow and teaches you different things, and unfortunately pulls your time away so you don't get to do as much art, but it's worth it.
Well, I got to ask you some other questions. I know just based on some tweets and things like that, I know it sounds like you're a wake and baker.
Yes, I am.
Nice. Yeah, pretty much everybody at Nifty Dimensions is with you on that. So of course it leads me to a small question of music. What kind of music are you into? What bands, what's your stuff?
That's an excellent question. I've been kind of stagnant lately with developing like new music. Like usually every 3-4 months, I'll come up with like a new music taste. But like I said, like jumping into the space has kind of thrown off my schedule and made me wonky.
It's always something I'm curious, like when an artist I really dig, like I wonder what they're listening to. Are they listening to anything when they're creating art? So I feel like it's such a vital part of the questions.
I've got the list of stuff up now. No, cool. It's an amazing question because like music, like even if I'm not paying attention to it, there's still the subliminal aspect. It's like the subliminal aspect of the sounds and the tones and the beats and everything hitting into your head, and it does. At least for me, the way I do my abstracts influence me in quite a great way. Mm-hmm. Like when I take a deep breath and fall out of flow for a second, it allows me to like hear what's going on and like find myself back into it and then jump back in. So it's kind of like a placeholder for me or like a mood starter. So
totally.
But let me give you a couple of the people that I'm listening to, like Cambio Wesh. I can't even pronounce this. And I don't want to like, oh, you can't see that. That's even worse.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah, it's kind of like not ambient techno. It's kind of more like a chill lo-fi vibe right now. Like Free the Robots EP, Free the Robots. Oh, cool. Aphex Twin is on there. I love Aphex Twin. Like sometimes like when you get this mindset, like anything along those lines when I'm in a certain mood. Monometric, DWIG. Like I love those. That's some of my older stuff that I like. I'm not going to talk about the German polka. I was in Wisconsin, an outdoor beer garden. That's not my inspiration music. And then I think one more album that I'll put out there is The Audience is Listening by Cut Chemist.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it. I've never actually heard it, but I totally have heard of that before. Cool. That sounds actually on the stuff I have heard. It sounds like good stuff to work to. I've been listening to a lot of psytrance. And same, I don't always know exactly who I'm listening to. There's a gazillion psytrance artists out there, and sometimes I'll just kind of let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you end up in some really amazing places. Like I think there's one song that I was listening to yesterday. I let me see if I can, because I favored it. I'll send it to you later, but it was a really good song. Have you ever
Or
thought about putting together a list of like music that all the artists you've interviewed have listened to or something like that?
no, but that would really be a good idea, actually. Everybody's been so different. Like I said, some people, they don't even, I don't know, they're not really into it. Other people had a huge list of stuff. Other people are musicians, so I knew, but no, I haven't put that together. It's actually a really good idea. I'm trying to I'm trying to put together like a little contest. Like I haven't done any contest for the show yet. So I guess everybody watching, let me know if anybody has an opinion on this, or maybe you have an opinion. I don't know if I should do like an NFT giveaway contest or like a t-shirt from our merch shop. But we definitely want to start doing some contests and just getting people interacting with the channel a little bit. So yeah, compilation.
Engagement is key.
Really
Yeah,
is.
like one of those things. Like, because I'm going to be doing not interviewing, but I'll be chatting with a friend of mine tomorrow. Raylersdam. I don't know if you've ever seen their art.
No,
Yeah,
no. Please send me.
REY. Yeah, I will send you a link to them. But I'm going
Uh-huh.
to be chatting with them tomorrow, and it's just like it's always like a question. Like that's where like with my gallery, it's like how do you engage people? Because a part of like what makes us work as an NFT world or as creative and artistic worlds and the things that you do is how we get people to want to be a part of it or engage with it or like get something from it and not just like information because like our attention is so pulled in millions of different directions right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, that's why everybody watching, please hit subscribe and like down there and interact with the channel a little bit. If you're on Twitter instead and you prefer that, maybe share the episode or just retweet it. We would both appreciate it, I'm sure. I have a couple questions I like to get into with people. So were there, as far as whatever generation you grew up, what toys and collectibles, or anything that really inspired you?
I grew up as a young kid in the 90s. I was lucky with all that. So I got to play with the dangerous toys like jarts and the
Nice.
chemistry kits, like where you had like stuff where you can make explosives with sodium. Yeah, that shit
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah, it
Um,
was.
yeah, I grew up on Nintendo and Sega Genesis and like those were my main toys. I had like the GI Joe figures and stuff. Legos were another big thing for me as a kid.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Like just putting all that stuff together and like making all the different things that you want. It's just like we didn't have like all the directions. Like here's one piece, half of your thing is done. Here are six more pieces. Your Lego thing is now done.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, they were classic. I liked Lego. I liked Transformers and GI Joe
uh,
for sure. Yeah.
I wanted Transformers, but yeah, there wasn't a point in my family's where we could get them or afford them. So
I feel you.
Transformers were so like because they were hardcore metal back then. Those things did not die.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah, for sure. There was a giant. I didn't grow up too rich myself, honestly. So it was pretty limited what I had, but I had a couple. I always wanted. I think Voltron was like that. You remember Voltron? It would come. There was like many pieces, and it was
five different robots.
right,
Yeah.
right. I couldn't even think about getting that. We were way too broke for that one, but I
Yeah.
remember seeing
Anything.
it. That's a good one.
Yeah, all those multi-piece ones. And it's just like, yeah, it's interesting. Like this is conversations I have a lot too, like thinking back on where we came from, like where these influences and like we played with Legos, we played with Transformers, so that totally influenced the way we're thinking about like the way we do things now. And
Oh yeah.
oh man,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
crazy.
Yeah. I was looking at your paintings and I see some really interesting styles. I noticed that some even had that Jackson Pollock vibe to it, which I'm all about. How long have you been getting into that kind of work for?
Yeah, that's like when you talk about influence and stuff, like specifically with painting, Pollock is definitely one of my huge early influences. Like
Nice.
when I got into painting canvases, I think 3, 4 years ago, or painting on papers, were actually where I got my start of doing a lot of random stuff. Pollock and Basquiat and
Mm,
good grief, like I wish I could remember more. I'm always bad for on the spot names and stuff like that, but that whole generation of like abstractification modernists where you have not Monet, Mondrian and Rothko and
mm.
like those like I was lucky a couple years back for I went to Paris with my family and we got to see the Museum of Modern Art, like the big one with all the moderns there. And it's just like because those names that I was mentioning, to see those live in front of me. And oh, Kandinsky is another one that I love a lot too. But seeing some of these people, oh yeah, I admit I cried in front of the Rothko. People were like kind of looking at me funny, but I'm like, you stand yourself in front of like some of these pieces where you feel that artist in it.
For sure.
And that's kind of where I got my start in my feelings of like how I do my painting. Like a lot of my early on paper, on canvas, all that other stuff was very much like an emptying out of a cup of like a lot of different experiences, feelings, and all that other stuff. So like painting, I wasn't like Pollock where he began to plan things and see the patterns and stuff like that. It's all just straight expressionism. Oh, there's also one other one that Motherwell. That was another one of my huge inspirations, because I also love to do ink on paper too, but those don't get seen very much because those are very much more of a niche market. So
right. Oh, those are great. I personally, growing up in Philly, my mom always made sure to get me to go to the art museum and even like the Franklin Institute and stuff. But Philadelphia Art Museum, I kept going back, especially as a stoner. Like nothing like being with your girlfriend or one of your buddies, smoking a little, going in and enjoying. If anybody, shout out to everybody in Philly and my friends back in Collingswood, New Jersey, South Jersey. If you haven't been there in a while, guys, like go over there and check it out. You're so lucky to have such a great, amazing art museum. I mean, Picasso's in there, you name it, everybody's in there. And it's really worth the $5 or $10 you got to spend. There's one day a week they let you go in for free. So not a commercial for the art museum, but if I was in Philly, I'd be going there all the time still. I miss that place.
And yeah, having easy to access, not libraries as well, but museums is so key, I think. And like, yeah, with this whole pandemic thing, not being able to access them on a regular basis, because I live in LA, so like I could literally walk to museums in like an hour. And it's like not being able to do that really, because most of the big ones are shut down or the limited entry or the prices have gone way up. And it's like, but if you're able to access a museum that cheap and that quick, do it.
Good point. Yeah. I don't even know what the new rules are in Philly right now. I know every state's different, but yeah, if you can get over there, do it. I wish there was something like that here. There's a little bit of culture, but not like what I'm used to. I mean, I'm Philly, New Jersey, New York, and Philly, really, lots of culture there. Where you're at, tons of culture there. Here, it's it's a little boring. Everybody here is cool.
Different.
It's different, right? I might edit that later. It's different.
It's different. But no, it's true, because it's like, it's not wrong to have emotions or feelings like that. Because when I went back to Milwaukee, I kind of also vibed the same thing. It's a different, like when you're in the intensity of an environment like New York or Los Angeles, or like when you have that kind of pressure of humanity all together pushing down, and the history of all the different things that have happened there, it's going to be a thicker air you're walking through. So when you're like, oh, I go back to this place and it's not as, it's true. And it's nothing wrong with that. It's just building its own thing. And some things take longer to have those waves happen. Like when I was back in Milwaukee, what's happening there in the last couple of years is way different than when I was there before. So it's like, it's building more and more. So
right. Nice.
Not everywhere starts as in like a Los Angeles or New York or so.
Right. That's true. Yeah, I'm patient here. One of the things I like about this area. It's very chill. The driving is so chill. Like there's no stress driving around. And man, where I'm from, like people will just cut you off. Giant tractor trailers will run you off the road, not care, not even look back to see what happens to you. And the stress level and anxiety level that I had up north is so different than the one I have down here. So I'm chilling down here. Trust me, man. And there's lots of like the herb issue is weird still down here. They talk about it like it's one of the bad ones, like one of the addictive things that are killing people, and they put it in the same categories and all. It's weird down here with that people still, if you mention like, oh, you want to smoke a blunt, people are like looking over their shoulder. And I'm like, what is it like? Is it like year 2000? Like it's 2021. We've already shown that cannabis, the endocannabinoid system is in every human body, CB1 and CB2 receptors in the body, how important it is for inflammation, which is the beginning stages of cancer. All this is common knowledge now here in 2021. And then you still have goofballs in politics that are trying to tell you how dangerous and evil it is. And like, we're a little too smart for that now. And, you know, the 2020 ages.
I unfortunately, we don't elect the smartest people to office. We elect the most popular people to office. And
Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to the legalization and how people think about it, like that's one of the other things that I try and push forward with the way that I live my life with like marijuana. Like I'm very open about it. I tell people I smoke all the time. I do my work when I'm high. Like I'm not always high. Like right this morning, I haven't done a wake and bake yet. But
me neither. Me neither.
Yeah.
Full disclosure.
I was tempted. Like, should I? Like, let me do some coffee first this morning.
Same.
So,
yeah.
Over the weekend. Yeah. But yeah, like trying to get legalization, like this knowledge about it. And it's just such a political power play because you have people who don't bother to try and understand it, or like it took a while for I'm very open with my parents about things. And so it took a while for them to kind of understand what was going on. And still they worry because a lot of these mindsets have been so deeply ingrained that it's easier just not to change your mind, because every time you change your mind, it takes a lot of energy. And so we live in a world where people don't want to expend energy on changing because it's much easier just to stay the same. And, you know, we'll see what happens. So.
Yeah. Some people stay in the reefer madness mindset. They go back to the reefer. You know what I mean? It's just classic.
I luckily haven't brushed up against those kind of people for a while. And I always give them a strange look because I'm like, have you ever smoked it?
Right.
No, it's horrible. Like, okay, I don't say you need to try everything to give an opinion on it, but it's like, just get high. Like, try it.
Yeah, so. It can't hurt to try it once. And truth be told, when I like this morning, like both of us made the decision not to do it. There's weeks or months where if I don't want to do it, I won't want to do it. Sometimes I want to be totally focused and clear-headed. And the truth is, I have a lot of straight edge friends too. I grew up in hardcore and punk rock around a lot of straight edge cats, and like I respect that shit so much that I'd be lying to act like. So I respect both sides of it. But I also would say if you never tried it, don't knock it unless you tried it, because it's quite a beautiful experience, especially if you have like the right sativa blend or hybrid, or you're chilling at night with a nice indica. Come on.
Ooh, good movie. There's so many ways to enjoy it. And that's why I think like marijuana as a substance has such a plethora of uses, not just like for fun and relaxing, but for mental health, for physical health, for so many different things like daily living. It's just, it's definitely in the next 10-20 years going to be, well, it's going to have to be to kind of distract us from everything else going on in the world. Like, we'll just get high instead of looking at the world.
Yeah. So. Man, you said it. I swear I've said those very words before. So I'm with you on that. I believe that's what's happening as well. But I mean, give and take, I guess, right? You got to take the good with the bad.
Exactly. Sure. And it's just, you just got to try and influence in the best way you can. And it's just like, I just feel the usage of marijuana allows people to be better at doing stuff like that.
Yeah, so totally. Well, I heard you mention movies. It's also another thing. I only got a couple more questions for you. I won't keep you too long, but you did mention movies. Any favorite movies or directors?
Now that's my jam.
All right, cool.
Like, do you like movies? And I'm like, yes, I love movies. Movies that, like, for me, like I listen to music, but movies is where I spend a lot of my time. Like I least like when I was younger, like watching the same kind of movies over and over again. And I don't know why, but yeah, I love the Alien series, like Alien 1, 2, and 3. I'll even go as far as to say number 4. Like Sigourney Weaver, like kicking ass, like all through the movies. I don't care if you like them or not, but just like I love those.
Oh, they were great. They were great.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of like the Predator, like 1 and 2, Demolition Man. Like you think of those classic, like late 80s, early 90s, they build these wonderful worlds through like these scenes, sets, and productions. And it might not be like the best movie or story, but they do really well. Like Big Trouble in Little China, like they don't try and like be anything they're not, like modern movies. It's just like explosions and you feel deep drama raging within your heart. And it's like, nah, just give me Big Trouble in Little China, give me any of those movies are like my faves. Nice. Science fiction especially. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I love sci-fi too. I've definitely been kind of getting into some more cult movies and just digging a little deeper into the B and C lists and seeing what else is out there. There's so much fun. The goofier and cornier, the better. Even sometimes with like horror movies, like when it's poorly done and it's funny, that's an art within itself, Like
Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, like the originals with Bruce Campbell, like because it's a genre. I miss kind of in a way, like, you know, the scary movie series that came out, like these, I forget what that kind of humor is called, where they're making fun of parodies. Like, I think in many ways we've forgotten how to make funny movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they're funny, but I think they try too hard.
Right.
Or there's a different agenda versus just trying to be a funny movie. There's some weird other thing going on, and you're like,
yeah, I know there's a lot of narratives and personal grievances being put into movies and TV nowadays, and I guess we could probably just leave it at that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the other great things right now when it comes to production and TV and entertainment and stuff. Like, it's shifting to the shorter production, like smaller house stuff, so that more people are able to put ideas out there, which is really nice. And I think through NFTs, a lot of these video producers, and like the world is going to change with NFTs, like figuring out how to move content through these smart contracts. And oh my god,
agreed. I know. I'm so excited. I don't have a VR set or an AR set yet, but I really need one. There's a few artists, Android Jones and Sarah Finn. Those are the two that I've noticed that have really been putting in some hardcore work. That I've gone to their Microdose VR, and I can't remember Sarah's one, but I'll put a link up like when I do the editing. But yeah, I see it on the computer and I want in so bad, and then I see people creating art within the VR world. That's what Sarah was doing, and I am loving that. It just looks like fun and almost like qigong or tai chi meets like doing art, right?
When you're doing it, it's so amazing, because like when I first started using the VR, like I've made some practice art with it, but it's just like you find yourself in a studio, but it's not like a studio where it's like, what do I want to do in this infinite space, which is kind of like intimidating in a way, because it's like through VR, what do you want to make?
Yeah.
And it's like, there you go.
Right. Yeah, I got to get into it. It's soon enough. I'm thinking by October, December area, I'm going to buy a decent set. And yeah, I want something decent. I don't want to just get like the garbage, you know. I've already heard reviews and all and seen that it really makes a difference, and to get something quality. So I'm with that. I'm pretty old school. I have a Nintendo Entertainment System right next to me. I'm a Nintendo freak, man. So when you said that, just to rewind, but same.
Do it, rewind.
Yeah. I totally fell in love with NES. I don't know. I'm 42, so I'm not sure where your age is at, but I figure we got to be somewhere around the same age, right?
Yeah. I just turned 40 this year, so I hit that.
Boop. Right.
Not today, but like last month. So
nice. Well, you said the magic words of NES and Genesis, and we all of us that came from that time. Let's face it, that was so groundbreaking back then. Everybody needed that in their life. And like John of the Shred, one of the last interviews I did on this show, he had mentioned like some of us weren't too financially set up. Our families might not have had the money for both systems or even one. So maybe you got the Nintendo, but your friend had the Genesis, and you go over each other's houses. And I want to play Altered Beast, but I only have Nintendo, so I'm going over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Altered Beast, we're super friends now.
Altered Beast. Yeah, that was so great. Nice. Yeah, that was a classic. Wow.
And Sonic the Hedgehog too, going back to like their man, there are so many games of that era and generation that popped away. Like my brothers were into games too. They were older than me, so we started with like Ataris and like the 386 46 computers, so we kind of had a background. But yeah, that consumer aspect of the Nintendo with the light gun, and like I remember I got Earth or Beyond Earth or something, like a shooting game for like aliens coming down. And
I need to step it up. I had one of my friends gave me, I have a GameCube and a Wii that I've had forever, but somebody gave me an NES, and obviously I got to get an adapter now and everything. I'm even going to get a stream card. I can't remember, like a card for my computer so I could do live streams of it, like retro gaming live streams on. I'm also on Theta TV, and I'm on something called Rockfin. And there's like live streaming on there. So I'm going to do that. And I have no right to do it. I suck at video games. So like,
The point isn't that it's not about being good at the see. That's one of the things. It's like, it doesn't matter how good you are as long as people are having fun with you doing it. And that's the only thing that matters. Entertainment.
Well, I guarantee it'll be entertaining because if anybody watches me play video games, you'll laugh at me. That'll be the entertaining part, is how sad I am. And I'm a huge fan of games, but yeah, I'm only good at certain ones. I could play like Zelda 1, A Link to the Past. Those are probably my 2 favorite games of all time. Both Zeldas. I was into Mario Brothers of all ranges. Luigi's Mansion was a giant influence on my life. The music, if you haven't checked out the music to Luigi's Mansion and the vibe there, it was so, man, it was a little ahead of its time, honestly, like in my opinion. And but yeah, Nintendo all the way. I can't wait. I know that you know, I don't want to say too much, but I'll just say this: working with some friends lately in some video game worlds and doing I've been lucky to do some voiceover work, and I even have the Nifty Dimensions show. You won't see my face, but I'll be reviewing certain NFTs in the video game. You'll hear me and you'll see some NFTs moving by in the game. And yeah, like I love how these worlds are colliding. And I guess, I'm sorry.
I was going to say that's a whole like hours long conversation that I want to have with you elsewhere about something. So
good. We should, because I'm making some really cool friends lately in this whole thing. And if you're into that, then yeah, we probably should talk about this, maybe even in the near future, because some cool things going on. There's a game called Happy's Humble Burger Farm that's actually coming out on Steam, and it's with a company called Tiny Build and Scythe Development Team. Tiny Build's huge for Steam, and yeah, it's a game that's coming out, and luckily I know the developer, John of the Shred, one of the guys that was on the show recently. So it's just been blowing my mind that I feel like for a few years there, I was kind of just like in this hermetically sealed like meditation of getting my chi right, getting my skills up, like even learning how to stream or do any of this stuff. And with the desire to get involved in art, in games and music, working with artists and developers and everybody, this whole new world that we're all creating, metaverses and shit, like, and then it's been an amazing experience. I guess I should take this time, you know, before we wrap it up. I want to do a shout out to Odd Man Out, Doug at Odd Man Out. Thank you for the shirt, bro. Like, I love it. Everybody, I'll put a link to Odd Man Out's website. Go check out his merch. I'm not the first person to wear one of his shirts on the show, so shout out to Creep Crew, everybody at Creep Crew. Love you guys. Yeah, they're awesome. And Skella Links, I want to shout out another special shout out to Skella Links. I will be showing off the NFT that she made us many times over. So shout out to everybody. And like I said, everybody that's been watching, if I haven't thanked you enough, please understand that I love you guys, and I thank everybody for putting out the love. And people have sent me really positive messages and have made me feel really awesome about this. I, like anybody else, I have confidence issues. I hope the show's going well. I don't know sometimes. And then some of the love I've been getting, just thank you to everybody. I just needed to say that, because I totally mean it from the heart. So much love to everybody. But Wessel, let me ask you this, man. Anything you would like to say, anything coming up, or anything you want to bring to the people that are watching, please let them know now.
Well, I think we had a good chance to talk about the upcoming events that I'm going to be a part of. My art projects are kind of on pause at the moment. I hate creative block. It really sucks, but having this amazing supportive community around, I think that's the biggest thing I want to shout out or say out. It's just like, this is an amazing community of people. Like, I never in a million years thought I'd be doing an interview, like, and then it's just like the supportive people. And then like you talking about all the different collaborations that are like, this is a space that is literally an open book. And like, I describe it to people, like, what do you want to do here? Like, if there's not an answer to your question, guess what? You get to make up the answer.
Yeah.
You know, especially like when you hit video games, like, man, there's a wonderful list of different potentialities in that. Like, every industry has a potential to revolutionize itself through the creatives right now. And it's like, we're at the tip of all of that. And it's just, it's an amazing thing. And it's just like to remember, like, at all times, like, we got people around to help us. So don't get too focused on your shit. Otherwise, your head doesn't have to explode in this space. There's enough people to help.
Totally. So. Yeah, and if I could just make a side note, because I totally agree. The thing I've noticed, at least for me with my NFTs and the show and everything about it, when I try too hard, it really doesn't seem to go well. It's like only the best parts have been the natural things, even reaching out to you. When I felt it was right, I was like, all right, I'm gonna reach out to him. I'm gonna try. But none of the time when I overthink it, freak out, anxiety, any of that stuff, it never works out. If I try to, I've done a couple episodes that were a little stressed and they didn't air, at least not yet. I don't know if they ever will. So I totally agree with you. I'm glad to hear you say that to everybody. Hopefully
Yeah.
everybody listens to you, Wessel, because you're right on, bro.
Yeah. People, oh man, it's a getting outside of our own heads, because we've been inside of like a shitty world for so long that's only jumping into this one. It's just like, it's hard to believe a lot of the good things are true, because there's also shady characters within what's going on. But it's just like, trust but verify. And once you start doing bad and you start finding your communities of people and just being yourself and having fun with it, like you said, like once you just like relax the fuck out, like we're at the beginning of stuff. You don't need a perfect portfolio. You don't need this. You don't need that. Like just breathe.
Totally.
You know? And
Good
that's
call.
a reminder for myself. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah, speaking of, I'll be doing a qigong session after this, breathing, that is. That's my discipline. I try, I'm getting a little older, so I'm trying to keep the workouts going and the walking, but my discipline right now is, and it has been for quite some time, about a decade, qigong, I believe. It's such an important part of my life. Breathing, anybody who doesn't know what qigong is, qigong is a simple breathing technique in movements where it's lung expansion breathing techniques that involve a little bit moving, kind of like Tai Chi. That is just natural stuff to help you live longer and think clearer. And so shout out to the Falun Dafa.
no. That's the whole point of why we create our platforms, to say the things that we want to say. So yeah, that whole topic of freedoms and such like that. And another reason to love the NFT world, because that's the place where right now, at least, we're away from those restrictions of different things through the metaverses. And like, as long as like through social media, we're still definitely censored and all this other stuff for the different things we want to do because of algorithms that want to, for profit margins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But at least within the NFT space, like the true metaverses that are blockchain, for free. So
yeah,
at least for now.
I know, for now, right? We hope that DeFi remains DeFi and free. And yeah, I feel you on that. And I didn't mean to get sidetracked. It's just it's something I often think about. I try to do a little session before the show to get me breathing, and I often think like, man, like I feel lucky to get to do this, because I can't imagine like if I wanted to meditate and I wasn't allowed to, I'd feel a little way about that. Yeah, I like that. It's such a positive community and a positive environment to put yourself in, that I believe it's helping me keep my sanity. Honestly, if I were to just be blunt about it, it's really when my focus got put back into play. I know when you say the word NFTs, and it's kind of taken loosely, but not to me. It's such a big part of the artistic freedom and the ability, like you said, like these are our ways to communicate how we feel about something, and you know, whether you say it out loud or you put it into your art, it's such an important thing. And yeah, so shout out to everybody that is putting their love into their art. And yeah, whether you charge a lot or you charge a little, charge more, because your art is worth it, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like jumping to higher. Oh man, that's a whole thing with confidence in people too. It just like, anybody who sets high prices, just remember you got to build up the structures underneath to support them. It doesn't mean if you set a high price on something that it's not worth it if nobody buys it. It just means you got to do a bit more work to show people why it's worth it.
Yes.
It's like yo, your art is worth it to you, and that's completely cool. Set high prices, because I've started to do that with some of my work too, and it hasn't sold as much, but that's okay, because you're building up a structure. Because it's like your creativity matters. The ideas and things that you are building matter.
Yeah.
So.
Man, he said it. Everybody watching, and some of my close friends out there that have started to sell NFTs and haven't sold anything yet, hear his words. There's a whole point to this, which is get into the community, interact with other community members, maybe buy an NFT or two, and be part of the community. You can't just jump into it and be like, hey, I'm going to make thousands of dollars. if nobody knows who you are, and you can be a famous person, as I've already learned, you could already be famous and everything else. You start over here. It's a beautiful thing. You get to start over. You get to refresh yourself. And it's really, you got to do the groundwork first. And I totally agree with that. If you're coming in and charging 0.5 ether for your first NFT, and nobody knows who you are, you might not get it. Then you're going to get discouraged and think like, oh no, that's all bullshit. That's not real. But it's real. You're looking at two people that have sold NFTs, and so you know what I mean. It's real.
It takes a lot of hard work, and it's just like, yeah, you can't, like, man, yeah, we all make those mistakes. You make the lessons. Just don't lower the prices on your art. Respect the price you put on it, and keep going from there.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Never give up, because it's like, oh man, I can, like, looking at my sales records and revenues and stuff over the last 6 months, it's just like the other kind of the IRL art world. Things come and go. It's like you ride a wave, you get off a wave, and it's just like there's so many different tides of interest that go through, because the collectors are very fickle right now about what's interesting, what's fun, except for the long-term collectors who are about the artist. And so it's like what you're selling, just focus on making the art, like, and then connecting with the people and having fun and just smiling at some of this stuff. Like, it's stressful. We all, like, up to the top, stressed out. Our heads are about to explode because this environment is like, you sell anything in this environment, like, you're doing good because it's so intense. Totally. And so, like, if you sold one piece in 1 month or one piece in 2 months, be happy with yourself. Like, right. You know, that's it's like, try different things too, because a lot of people, I think, just get into one thing because they're known for that, and it's like they do that and they don't succeed at that, and they just give up. And it's like, try something different, collaborate, do something you never thought you would do. You know, this is the space. Create an anonymous hen account and nobody will ever know. Exactly. Yeah, it gives you so much freedom. Exactly. You can be whoever you want. Like, I'm not Rizzo on Foundation. I'm Sacred Seven. That's an old music project name of music that I had that I turned into my artist name. You can be whoever you want. Many crypto artists will never show their face or their real name or anything, and they like that. They like the anonymous part of, I get to be this mystery artist. I think that's cool as shit, honestly. Like, and it's really fun when you find them on Hen when they haven't announced themselves and they're selling stuff for like 3 to 5 TES, and you're like, please, I'm gonna grab some of these. Exactly. Yeah. No, Hen's awesome. More and more, I especially, I went to your page and I was looking around. Great stuff, by the way, on there. Thank you. Yeah, Hen's really cool, and I like that it's affordable. Not like I love Foundation and I love OpenSea. And I even love Wax and like niftyblocks.com. And I like NFTs in general. I'm totally hooked. But yeah, I will say that there's something about Hen that's cool. It's like everybody kind of broke out. There was like this breakout, went to Hen, and it just seemed like this cool, hip, new place where it's like, wait, what are you doing? How come I don't exactly understand what's going on here? But the more you look at it, you kind of get accustomed to it. And yeah, it's cool that they use Tezos as well. I'm a fan. I'm a holder of Tezos a little bit anyway, so I'm happy to see it thriving. Yeah, it was definitely like, yeah, when I first jumped in that April, May, like, yeah, that place, it has grown so much and it's gone through so many different things, and it's an amazing marketplace for the environment, the people, the art itself, the possibility of experimentation for low prices. It's also been the place for so much different debate when you compare it against ETH, and then you have Matic, and then you have but at the same time, it's just like, go where you find yourself having fun. There's no right like coin. Like, yeah, long term, some are going to likely be better than others, but go where you're having fun. Yes. You know, like, if you're worried about the currency being worth something or whatever, like, flip it into something else. Like, your art's always going to be on that blockchain, you know, and just spread yourself. Like, there's a million different things that you can do just to stay safe and have fun here. So. Yeah, definitely. Well, Wessel, listen, man, if you want to come back on the show at any point, have any announcements or anything, please, you're always welcome here, because it was a joy to have you on. A super blast hanging out with you, bro. You as well. Thank you for the great morning conversation. Because it's like you wake up, brew some coffee, and like, I get to talk to Rizzo this morning on video about art. Yeah, that's how I felt about you, man. That's what's up. Yeah, same. And I love it. Maybe one of these days, you know, we'll meet face to face and burn one down and get into some
some art ourselves. And if you ever need any music, man, just say the word. I would love, I'm always looking to collaborate with great artists. So just putting that
You
out
you
there.
you just spoke the magic words to me. So
Oh,
there's
beautiful.
so many. We'll definitely be DMing each other about some stuff because yes, we would definitely will. So.
Sounds good. All right, brother. You have a good one, and everybody else at home, be good. Much love, and Wessel, peace, man.
Thank you for having me.